we've come down from the mountains following the Rakaia Awa, and we're here with Davina from Environment Canterbury. Davina, you're the senior leader in the science team, and part of what the council has to respond to is floods on the likes of the Rakaia.
That's right.
So you monitor this awa, don't you?
We do, and you can actually see the tower behind us on the other side of the river. Now there is a machine inside there that's measuring the height of that river, and what we know when the river is of a particular height, then we know how fast the river is flowing as well. So we use that information to help us understand when a flood might be coming.
Right, and you can see that the awa is a little discoloured at the moment. There has been a lot of rain up in the headwaters.
Yeah.
So what are some of the flows that we're looking at? What's a typical flow on the Rakaia?
Well, we measure flows in what's called a cubic metre or a cubic, and that's, if you can imagine, a box that's about a metre by a metre by a metre full of water. But it's sometimes easier to think of cubics in the terms of how many elephants is that.
Right.
So one elephant has about 5 cubics. That's 5 cubic metres of water full of elephant. So when this river is flowing at its normal rate, we're flowing at about 200 cubics. So that's about 40 elephants charging past this tower every second.
Every second?
Every second. Now when this river was at its highest ever recorded flow, which was in a big, big flood, we were actually measuring 5,500 cubics. So that's 1,100 elephants charging past this tower every single second. That's a lot of elephants and a lot of water.
It is indeed a lot of water. So monitoring the awa, pretty important in terms of responding to the likes of floods and even droughts, and we can expect more of that with climate change. So that's how you monitor it, but why is that information so useful?
Yeah, it really helps people understand what might happen in a flood. So this river in particular is about 150 kilometres long. So it goes right from the mountains up here all the way down to the coast. So that's a really, really long way for the water to travel. And what that means is when there's a flood at this end, you might not see that at the other end. So down on the plains, it might be a beautiful sunny day, but up here, there's a lot of water coming down the river. So we use this sort of information to warn people further downstream when a flood might be coming. So they might go out and move their animals up into higher ground. They might move some of their machinery or things like that to protect their own stuff.
Right, so that's how people can respond. You can give them that information. So what's the council doing with that information long term?
Long term, we use it to plan where people should build. So scientists at Environment Canterbury and lots of other places use the information that we get from these towers and they put it into really complicated scientific programs to try and understand where the floodwater might go. And then when we know where that's likely to go, we can go and figure out where we should say to people, you shouldn't build there, you might want to move it back, or you might want to lift it up high so that floodwater can flow underneath, that sort of thing.
Yeah, and I guess those programs can tell you what might happen at certain levels in the future. So what about droughts?
Well, that's right. What we're expecting with climate change is that when it's dry, it's going to be drier. So that puts a lot of pressure on these rivers when people need to irrigate their paddocks. So we use the same information to understand how low can this river go to still support life. And then we call that a minimum flow. When the river goes down to that level, you have to stop irrigating. You can't take any more water out of that river. So we use all of that information to make sure that everyone gets enough water, but not when it's too dry.
Really important information. And you might be on a water tank at home, and really important that you know how much water is in your tank so you know when to have those short showers to preserve the water left. Really good information to help us plan for the future, Davina.
That's right.
Yeah, kia ora.
Kia ora.